Hey everybody, welcome back to Chasing Rust. If you're new here, I'm your host Josh. This is your host Randy.
Howdy.
And today we're headed down to a friend of ours, Mark. You guys have heard us talk about him in a few other videos. And we're gonna go check out Mark's shop and just what he does. So we're taking you guys along. Mark has agreed to let us film in there a little bit. So it should be an interesting video. So what do you think? I think it's interesting.
I think you'll find it very interesting.
Yeah.
If you like mechanical things and knowing how things work and fixing and repairing things, Mark's your guy.
Sure is. So we just had a car pull out in front of us. No big deal.
We got brakes.
We hope. So, all right. We'll see you guys here in a minute when we get to Mark. Hey everybody, welcome back to Chasing Rust. And before we get into today's video, we got something we want to talk to you guys about. Please don't fast forward. This isn't an ad. This is just something that happened here locally this week. We had two sheriff's deputies get fatally wounded in the line of duty, and two others injured during the same incident as well. So we felt it on our hearts that we needed to help out, and this is what that looks like. We are going to put the Venmo account for the Christian County Sheriff's Department down in the description of today's video. So if you guys would like to donate to help out those families, both the deputies that passed, they both have young kids at home and families, and even the ones that, you know, the guys who got injured, they got a long road of recovery ahead of them, and they're going to need some help in the days and months to come. So if you guys could find it to donate, find it in your hearts to donate, we would appreciate it. You don't have to, but we just would like to pass that word along.
Right. Or you can go to the Christian County Sheriff's Department Facebook page just to send your condolences and well wishes and that kind of thing, if you want to do that. Even that would be appreciated right now. It's a pretty raw situation around here. This happened about 10 minutes from here, 10 miles from here. So it's, you know, we didn't know the deputies ourselves, but we do know the sheriff, and we're very involved with him and know him pretty well. And so it's a tough time. And you know, if you've had kids, or if you have kids or had kids, and you know they're young, and you got a young family, and now we've got some young widows out there that are going to have to raise some kids and pay for some things, and so if you can do something, that'd be great. If you can't and don't want to, that's fine too. You know,
No pressure.
No pressure. We just wanted to say, you know, let you know what happened, because it's a pretty tragic situation, and pretty, like I said, it's pretty raw around here right now. So we just wanted to try to help out if we could. So
Right. So, and the Sheriff's Department has asked that if you guys send money through Venmo, there's a couple other agencies or groups that are taking donations for the families. I don't know what those are off the top of my head, but I do know the link that we give you is directly from the Christian County Christian County's Sheriff Department.
yeah.
And that's straight from them. That's the one you got off the news station. We're not middleman in this. We're not making money. You're not going to put money in our account and then we put it in theirs. No, it goes straight. We're just passing it along.
Yeah. We're just trying to help out.
Yeah. So we'll put the link down in the description of the video, and they ask that if you do donate, just make a memo on it on Venmo. I know you can do that. Just make a memo that that's what you're donating for, was the fallen deputies' families, or the injured deputies' families, or both, a combination of both.
Right.
So again, there's no pressure. We just felt the need to pass the information along. So
there is another organization. I think it's called Christian County 100. It's a very good organization as well, and so we'll probably put a link to that as well. Again, it's not a Venmo, but it is another organization that the money would go straight to the families. So we'll probably put that in there somewhere, just so you have a couple of options. You may not have Venmo. So anyway.
Yep. So with that being said, guys, we're going to get back to some lighter news, and you're going to check out this video. I think you're in for a treat today. It's very intricate. So
it's a very good video. Yeah, it's if you've never seen the inside of a magic box, stay tuned.
You're going to see the insides.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Anyways, guys, we appreciate you, and thank you for not fast forward and skipping this.
And we do appreciate y'all, by the way. We appreciate y'all watching every week. Or if you've never seen us before, we appreciate that as well. So, you know, and like I said, or Josh said, we're just trying to help out in our own little small way. If you all can do that. There's a lot of things going on around here locally where people are donating money and time and stuff. And so this is our way of trying to help out. So,
all right.
All right, let's start the video.
Guys. So you get to talk.
Great. Okay, here we go. All right. Howdy, folks. So we're here at Mark Meyers' place, and Mark, we're going to work on a mag here. Mark's going to put it together for us today. You're going to get to see the insides of a magneto. So pretty cool deal here on Chasing Rust this week. And so we got Josh here with us, obviously, and our buddy Mark Meyers here. And Mark is a excellent mechanic for magnetos and carburetors and clutch brakes, anything. What else do you do? Any other stuff?
Anything that comes along.
Anything that comes along. Do you have an engineering degree?
I do not have an engineering degree, but I work as an engineer.
But he works as an engineer. There you go. So
I have a business degree.
He has a business degree. Well, okay. That works too, I guess. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. So, okay, well, this is the mag off of our John Deere number 7 combine that we bought. We brought it down here to have Mark check it out for us. And so, Mark, what did you find, or what did you have to fix with that, or what issues did you have?
Well, the main problem with this one was the points. It's a real nice mag, other than a little crack here, but
we're not going to name any names, but it rhymes with Schmillen.
The most common things that happens to mags like these is humidity makes the points corrode.
Yeah.
And you look in there, you can kind of see the corrosion around the points. So clean those up, and a lot of times that'll take care of it. But I put a new condenser in it, cleaned it up a little bit.
See, so you're saying the O'Reilly's condenser we put in there didn't work out?
Well, I put a new one in there. I'll
or
just
the
put it that way.
That we used to clean the points up.
And the points were pretty pitted, but I use a diamond file, and just you've got to make sure your points are contacting flatly against each other, and then you want to polish them with some really fine sandpaper, because any scratches on that surface will kind of allow corrosion and arcing to happen.
So tell us, what is this machine that you've got here that you've got it on?
This is a Michelin magneto tester, and I bought this from the late Jack Chandler's family, who had the business magneters. He lives just a couple miles down the road from me here.
Okay. So it's the mag is mounted on there, and then it's attached back here, and that's an electric motor.
So this is a base mount mag, so I had to make a base because it was missing. So this one bolts in from the bottom, and then it engages the drive back here where the impulse drive is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got your spark stations here, and you hook up your wires.
Cool.
And it's got a variable speed reversible motor, which is a little unique, but this is an old timer. I think it was built in the 50s, possibly 60s.
Gotcha. Cool. All right, we'll fire it up there. Let's see if the Sparks are flying. Oh, yeah.
So this is a real hot magneto for a Wyco X. This is an XH series. They made a whole bunch of different specifications for different manufacturers. You have different rotations, different drive cups, and all different things. So this one is very hot. You want to ideally have at least a 1/4 inch spark jumping.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some pretty good spark there.
And then as you slow it down, you'll hear it kind of tripping. And what that's for is on a hand start tractor, or even some of the later ones with electric start, when it's turning over, it's going really slow. So when you're starting by hand, you're not able to turn that over fast enough to create a good spark.
Right.
So it catches and winds up, and then it releases at the right time.
Ah, so it builds up and then
It makes
really,
that clicking sound, and then at about 250 RPMs, the centrifugal force will make these trip dogs release.
Ah, okay.
They're kind of flying out, and then
Gotcha.
they don't catch anymore.
Right.
So, but when it's just turning slowly under gravity, they'll fall down and catch on this impulse ring.
I see.
So we can start it up here slow, and then as it gets going faster, it'll stop catching.
Ah, yep. So basically, it's kind of like a governor in there that, as the speed changes, it changes the spark, I guess.
Well, so
Sort of.
It doesn't really change the spark per se.
it's going to fire at one position when it's under impulse, and then when it stops doing that, then it's going to go kind of to your running timing. But this is a 35-degree lag angle on this particular cup,
Okay.
so it's going to be 35 degrees different timing when you're starting it.
Yeah. Right.
So
Okay. Cool. Now, folks, you may not have been able to see the sparks on the video here, but
They're there.
I promise you it was sparking very, very good. So-
sometimes the sparks don't show up on because of the scan rate of the camera,
Yeah.
but you can hear the snapping
yeah.
still.
Yeah. So it was definitely sparking. There was nice blue sparks going there. So
Yeah, so that's a good hot one.
yeah, that's good. Cool.
So, Dylan, you didn't mess it up. Too bad.
All right, so we've got another Wyco XH, and this one is a spec 1886, and it says Pony on it. So this came off of what I believe is an R Pony motor.
Okay.
So it looks identical to this one here that would be on like an unstyled A or something like that, but it is rotating the other direction. This is a clockwise rotation mag.
Okay.
So you can see as I turn it, it's catching there, and then that spring is winding up.
Yeah.
And it's doing that clockwise, but it doesn't do anything if you go the other direction.
I
So
see.
all the other two cylinders are counterclockwise rotation, and you tell that by looking at the drive side of the mag, not the front side. Actually, some people call that the front side.
Yeah. Cool.
But what we're going to do is we're going to tear this thing down.
Okay.
And kind of show how that's torn down. They're not real difficult mags. It's probably the simplest mag there is out there to rebuild. But there's a couple of little tricks we can do to take them apart.
In case you're all wondering, this is Mark's to-do pile right here. Each one of those boxes and everything laying there on the floor is labeled, and so he's got plenty of work to do.
He's a very busy man.
Very busy.
He's very good at what he does.
I need to retire so I can spend more time in the shop. So,
Yeah. Retire from your real job so you can do this.
would you hand me one of those silicone tubs? So I like to put my parts that I'm going to bead blast in one container, and then I have another container. This rotor looks good. It'll clean up good on the wire wheel. I'll take these points out.
Do you usually just change those points out, or are they good still sometimes?
I normally put new points, condenser. You know, some rebuilders replace everything, and I could do that, but I think most of my people that I do things for appreciate if it's a little less cost, so
Right.
I don't just automatically replace everything. If it's
Sure.
still good, I'll reuse it.
Yeah.
But I do like to put all new fasteners in unless it's a special one, and I use all stainless steel. Except for these little special point screws with the special washer on them.
Gotcha.
The coil looks pretty good in here. We can test it and see what it looks like. These coil clips quite often are cracked right here, but those look okay.
And I'm guessing there's still suppliers for some of this stuff. Probably not all of it, but some of this stuff. There's still places you can get this stuff.
Actually, on these, you can buy pretty much every single part. You can still buy a new case. You can
Oh, wow.
buy the coils, coil bars, everything. And there's a lot of them out there for parts.
Yeah.
But you get into some of the other mags, like the split-off CDs, there's almost nothing available for those anymore.
Gotcha.
Kind of fighting that magnet a little bit there, so gotta release those bars off of there.
There it comes.
So that's your bar inside the coil. So there's a bunch of wires up in there wound up, and that creates your field. So we can just see what it looks like real quick. So secondary to primary, we got 4.8 kilo ohms. That looks about right. Okay, that's good. This one should be good. And then ground to primary. So it ohms out good. It should work, but
Nice.
we can test it, or we can just put it in and see if it's working when we get done. So everything's pretty much done on the front side of it, so we got to take the impulse out. There's your impulse spring, looks like new. Those parts get kind of stuck together. So there's 4 screws in here that hold your impulse ring in place.
Okay.
So we take these loose.
I think most people are kind of like me. They just they look at that and they say, "Man, there's a lot of screws and thingamajigs in there. I don't want to mess with that." So we bring it to somebody like you that knows exactly what they're doing.
Magic box.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parts in there, and they do have to go in a certain way and everything, but this is a pretty simple magneto.
So you were talking earlier about how that one's clockwise rotation. Could you switch it to make it counterclockwise to work on an unstyled tractor?
So your impulse ring right here can be put over here on this side, and then you've got a scale where you time your tripping under impulse. And yeah, it can be done. There's some parts that would be different. It would be the trip dogs. That would have to be different, and I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the rotor, because the cam's on the points on this one. But yeah, it could be switched around with the right parts. So get some of this stuff out of the way. At this point, you could start prying on everything, but really the best way to do this is, I've got all the screws out, and I'm just going to knock that out in one unit. So there's our bare case. And if you start prying around on this stuff, you're going to damage and bend up a lot of stuff. So how I like to do it is, I'm going to slide this in here. I do have soft jaws in my vise.
Oh, yeah.
Just knock that apart, and then you don't tear anything up. There's your rotor, there's your two magnets. There's your cam lobes. So we can see the difference here. The trip dogs most likely could be just flipped upside down. I'm not 100% sure about that, but
Yeah.
you do have to switch some things around. And this one has two oil slingers in here. That's interesting. You see all kinds of stuff. You see things that are put together wrong and missing, and
Somebody's been in there before.
Well, you know, like I said before, I paid $10 for that mag on a Facebook auction, so not surprised.
so there's a little clip that holds the bearing in. And there's a notch. And then to take that bearing out, it feels okay, but I'll probably put a new one in. They're not that expensive. I'll just knock that out.
Oh, there it went.
So the only other thing left to do that you can really take apart, there's actually two things. The main bushing there. So we got a little driver, so we'll just knock that out. And then the other thing that you can replace is your breaker pivot stud, and it feels nice and tight even with the old points, so it's fine. You see these rocking around real bad, that'll change your opening of your points.
Right.
So that's pretty much it. That's bare case, so this will get bead blasted, and then all these parts will get wire wheeled and cleaned up, and then new parts installed and
Cool.
ready to go.
Yeah. That was like 5 minutes. He got that thing apart.
Yeah.
Like I say, these are about as simple as it gets on the magnetos.
It's still just as Magic Spark Box to me.
Yeah, right?
That all happened so fast. I hope you guys were paying attention, because
Yeah.
I was here watching it and it happened fast.
Rewind and watch it again.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that was quick.
So we'll set this aside. Get this out of the way, and we'll revisit that another time. So here we have another XH series magneto, and this one is a 477, which means it originally had a long lug drive cup on it.
Okay.
The short lug will say 1042. So this would not have been original equipment on an unstyled A or B or G. It would have been the replacement that John Deere probably would have sold later on to
Okay.
install on a unstyled tractor. It does have the stop lever button
Oh, yeah.
hole in it, so that makes me think it's a little bit later manufacture.
Right.
So that's a really handy feature to shut your tractor off, so I'm going to go ahead and put a new one in there.
Okay.
We'll start putting this thing together. First thing will be the main bushing.
So that's the main bushing going in there.
That's the main bushing.
That's the same tool you used to take the other one out with, isn't
Right.
it? Yeah.
And according to the manual, it's supposed to sit a 64th inch below the surface here. Not really any need to measure, but you can kind of visualize what it should look like.
Yeah.
If you get it too deep, then things will kind of lock up in there and it won't turn right.
Gotcha.
So we need to put our coil in because it serves as kind of a keeper for your magnets after you recharge the rotor.
Okay.
So we'll put this in next. So your coil bar has some wider flat surfaces. Those are going to go against your laminations in the case. So we'll slide that in there in the coil. And the wires on the X go over here on the right side, so that's different than the C. They're over on the other side. This coil doesn't look fantastic, but it checks out okay, so we're going to give it a try. So coil clips, no crack in there.
Those are just metal clips that hold it in there.
That's going to hold that coil bar up against the laminations in the case.
Okay.
It's real good, real important that you have a good flat contact to create the best field possible.
Right.
And the coil to the coil bar, this one was nice and snug, but if it's kind of loose in there, you've got wedges to put in there to kind of force it over to one side where it's going to get closer to those windings.
Gotcha.
Another coil clip, and then your ground wire is going to go on this side.
Man, there's a lot of parts and pieces laying there on the counter.
So I think we'll go ahead and put the stop lever in next because this little screw is kind of hard to get in there once you get the points and everything in place. So this is a new stop lever kit. These are originally brass, but that original one was kind of chewed up. So they have these little insulators. And this one's over here on this side, so it's going to use a jumper wire. Some of them are over here, then they use a little metal clip that kind of connects them. And then we've got a new insulator for this to make sure the screw doesn't contact the side of the case.
So in case you folks at home don't know or don't understand what it is what he's installing here, this is basically the shutoff for your tractor. So a lot of the earlier tractors, you just turned the gas off and let them run out of gas or choked them down and they died. This is actually a ground that you touch that ground to the the case of the mag there, and it grounds it out, and then the tractor would die. So kind of I guess you'd call it a newer feature, shut off newer feature on tractors that the older versions didn't have.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient.
And if you really want to mess with somebody, you run a wire from that stud and you just stick it underneath the bottom there, and they'll never know.
It won't start too well.
Yeah. Not that that's ever been done or anything.
So you've got this wire that's going to contact the points and condenser connection. So basically you're just grounding it out to the case when you push that lever.
Yeah.
So before we go any farther, we're going to make sure that our insulators are good here, because if that's touching the metal, or sometimes the fiber can get saturated or something.
Mm-hmm.
If that's making any type of a connection, that's going to keep it from firing.
Right.
So from that wire to the case, I was touching it with my finger. We have absolutely nothing going on, so that's good. And then once we push that lever, we're going to see something happening.
Yep.
Okay. So let's pre-assemble the impulse drive cup. This spring looks good, so I'm not replacing it. There's no pits or anything in it. So on a counterclockwise rotation, it's going to look like this. And clockwise, it'll be flipped the other direction.
Right.
So I've got a little tool I made that makes this easier. On a used spring, they go together a lot easier than a brand new one. So that's going to kind of just hold that spring out of the way.
Mark is very good at making things to make this process easier, adapters and whatnot.
Got lots of special tools I've made.
If you work on this stuff all the time as he does, then you learn how to make some shortcuts.
So I'm putting grease down here where that's going to be rotating, and then I'm going to put some grease where the spring can have a little lube as it's being compressed. This is where a lot of people get tripped up, but it's really not that hard to do. One of the ways you can do it is use one of the original, I don't know what you call it, it's an engagement washer. So the brass one is going to go down there first because it's actually going to be rotating against that drive cup. If you can find a screwdriver that'll lock in that slot.
Ah, yeah.
Now if you get a new spring, it's going to be really tight here, and it's going to be easier to do this, but on a used one it's kind of opened up.
So you're just twisting it.
I'm just going to wind it up.
Yep.
And I lost it.
And there it is.
Take this out.
Pretty nifty.
And I'm going to get rid of all this grease, because that will kind of affect your trip dogs and maybe make them sticky. Make sure that spring is down good. So we'll just leave that one in there. That's the brass one. The smooth side goes down against the drive cup, and then we'll put that one in there for later. Okay, we got to put a bearing in, so I'm going to put the bearing in the holder here, whatever you call it. So I'm going to go over to the press, use a socket. Make sure it's started straight.
That always helps, yeah.
And make sure you don't bottom out too hard, because you will just break the end of that out if you don't.
What are you doing over there?
Well, I'm responding back to a couple comments from last night's video.
So to put this clip in, I like to put the end of it right next to the notch, so it's easy for the next guy to take out if he ever has to. So I'm just going to get that started and kind of use a wrench and push it in there. So it's snapped in there good.
Nice.
Okay, so our rotor's next to go in, so I'm going to put some grease on this main bushing. We're going to go ahead and charge these magnets. Now these are kind of permanent magnets, and in my experience, if they're really weak, the charging will help them. If they're already pretty good, maybe you won't actually see any difference, but
Yeah.
I'm going to do it anyway, just in case.
Sure, yeah.
So, let's see.
More jigs.
Got kind of a keeper going from the charger to here.
Okay.
I don't know if it actually matters in this case, but we're going to do it anyway.
I don't know what this is, but there's some big windings back there.
This is a magnet charger that I built.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is suspend it 90 degrees from how we'll charge it, and that'll let it kind of find the right poles. It's wanting to turn that way, so I'll put that in there snugly. Give it about 3 hits.
I don't know if you noticed, but that was moving too.
What was moving?
This.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
It's pretty strong. If you need to magnetize a screwdriver, this is a good place to do it.
Huh. And
So
so that keeps them charged while you're.
it keeps you from losing your charge. That's really important on a horseshoe mag or an older magnet made out of steel.
Okay.
These are a different type of magnet, so probably not as important. So we're going to sneak this into the case.
There it goes. Okay.
All right, so now it's time to put the rest of this stuff in. So we've got a large spacer, and then we've got a bigger shim washer. This one was actually missing, I think, on this mag. And the other one was chewed up, so I've got 2 new ones here. So we've got the impulse ring, and then this rubber seal here. I'm going to put a little grease on here.
Is that just generic grease, or is that some kind of special grease, or
It's just regular grease.
just grease is grease?
Yeah. There's a special little spacer here that has a lip on it, so it's going to
Okay.
go like that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put our bearing in there. It should snap down on in there easily, but be a little stubborn. So we've got a new gasket, and then we're going to put our impulse ring and this piece in there. So we're going to have our trip mechanism over here on the left side,
Okay.
unlike that last one we
I like
looked
the
at.
other one. Yep. Because this mag turns the opposite. They turn opposite of each other.
Right.
Right. How long have you been working on mags and carbs and this kind of stuff?
The first tractor I restored was in 2000 or so, and I rebuilt the mag on that one, and it's actually never given me any trouble. I didn't really know what I was doing that much back then, but I kind of figured it out. So I don't know, for about the last maybe 8 years or so.
Yeah. And this is, so you have a real job, but this is kind of your side gig, hobby, takes up all your extra free time, right?
It does, but I like to do this stuff. I've probably done about 250 magnetos or so. I've probably done 300 carburetors. And I think I'm at about 450 pulley brakes.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about pulley
Well,
brakes
that
yet.
just started like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah, for those of you at home, when we have carb and mag problems, we just bring them to Mark because, like Josh says, these mags are just the magic box where magic happens in there, and we don't pretend to know what's going on. And Mark can fix it and do it so much faster and easier than we ever could. So that's why we wanted to showcase this, because this is very cool. It's I've never seen the inside of a mag or how it goes together or why, and so hopefully y'all are enjoying this as we're working on putting this one back together.
Most people don't think about it. They just, we'll throw a mag on it and whatever, and there's a lot that goes into the mag, as you can tell.
So back to the impulse ring, you can see hopefully a scale on here.
Yep.
And a good starting point is about the second, maybe 2.5 notches over from the left for these 2-cylinder mags. So we're going to start there. But there's a certain procedure you're going to use to properly time it to your tractor. You're going to set your running timing first, because when you rotate this mag, you're going to affect how soon it fires, but you're also going to affect your starting.
Right.
So you do that first, and then once you get that set, you're going to check and make sure it's clicking or tripping at top dead center. And if it's not right, then you're going to take the mag off, but you're going to mark it first because you're already happy with your run timing.
Yeah.
And you're going to take these 4 screws loose and adjust this ring. Then you're just going to keep putting it back on and getting it to where it trips at top dead center.
Okay.
See, you learned something today. You know what I do with all of them? I just bolt it on there and set the run timing, and away we go.
And that's probably why a lot of tractors don't start real well, is this is not right.
Yeah.
So we're going to put a little grease here on the oil slinger where it rubs on that rubber seal there.
I've had some tractors over the years that were, hard to start. I think we all have, but probably all of them at some point or get that way. But when you have one that you've had a mag gone through and you've had the carburetor gone through, you can really tell a difference. 1 or 2 rolls of the flywheel and fires right up. So it's definitely worth the time and effort to have your mag gone through and your carburetor gone through to make your tractor run better, start better, and run better.
It's really important to set that start timing. That's probably very commonly overlooked.
Yeah.
So we put the trip dog plate in there, so then there's a spacer that goes in next, and then we have this piece, and it's only going to go in there one direction, and it's not going to line up. You can see this has the grooves, so you know it's been on the trip dog side, so that way it lines up.
Okay.
Then we have the small shim washer, and then we're ready to put the drive cup on.
Okay.
So I'm going to put this again in my soft jaws. I'm going to use that flat there where the rotor goes. Suspend that in there. And basically we're just going to line up the flats here. Get that started, and then I'm going to wind it up. Get past that point there, sorry. And then we're just going to tap that into place. But you got to make sure your trip levers kind of stay out of the way. Kind of keep it centered up. Okay, that's going to stay. So that's ready to go. All we're missing is the nut.
Okay.
So this is going to be moving as it's impulsing, so we're going to put some grease on here.
So, and that nut has it only goes on one way.
It does.
Yeah. Okay.
That shoulder is going to be wearing against the drive cup, so
Yeah.
that's why we put some grease on it.
Right.
A little hard to get started for some reason.
I have that problem some days.
Okay, we're still nice and free. That nut is tight. So we're good there.
Is there a torque spec on that nut back there? That was about 4 Ugga-Duggas.
Yeah.
I have found that the impact is by far the best way to do that, because it's really clumsy to hold that, and that's probably why you see a lot of them that are staked, because they've come loose, and You see washers in the wrong place and all kinds of stuff. Okay, it's time for the points.
There's considerably less parts on the bench than there was.
So these are new points, and I've already deglazed them. Use a really fine piece of emery cloth or something, and I like to have a really flat surface. Even a brand new set of points may not fire if they're not deglazed. So some really fine paper, and then keep it really flat and just kind of take that glaze off of there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That one's already done too, nice and smooth. Got these special screws for the breaker points. Then we have a thick washer that goes on first. Then again, we're going to put a little bit of grease here where this is rotating. And this breaker stud is nice and tight, so I didn't replace it. So they used to have a thin washer on the top of this post, but they don't supply that anymore, so not really all that necessary. So when I'm off the lobe, I can see that I'm not really sitting flat, so I'm going to bend this tab a little bit. It's important that your points are contact and flat against each other. Need to adjust that a little bit.
Have you ever shocked yourself working on one of these?
Yeah, many times.
That seemed like a common occurrence, maybe. Especially if I was working on one.
So we got a pretty nice flat contact there. So before we hook anything up, we're going to check the edge gap and get it set. So I'm going to put this in and put some pressure on the breaker arm. So your point gap should be about 15 thousandths, and that's not going to be too far off, but really the true thing you want to do is you want to have your edge gap, which is the edge of that rotor magnet to the laminations there in the case. That's the measurement you're going to do, and that's about 85-90 thousandths of an inch. So I've got a piece of wire that's that thickness, so you can check it with that, but I kind of just do it by eye because I know what it needs to look like anymore. But
Yeah.
so we're going to hook up our meter. And it's going to beep when it has continuity. So I'm going to hook up from the case to this screw on the point, and I'm going to turn it until it beeps, and I can see it's a little wide right now, so it needs to be sooner, so it needs to be closer. little more. Okay, it's too early. So when you set your points to 15 thousandths, you're approximating this measurement here. You're kind of doing it backwards.
I see.
And over the years, whoops, I lost my position. As the cam lobes wear off, what you may find is your hottest spark may not be 15 thousandths. You may have to put it on the tester. If it's good, then you leave it alone. But if it's kind of weak,
Yeah.
you're going to experiment with a different point gap until you find that hottest spark possible.
Sure.
That's pretty close. We're going to call that good. Okay, so we'll take this screw back out.
And again, this is for a John Deere tractor, but you work on mags for just about anything, probably, right?
I've worked on a lot of different mags.
Yeah.
Yeah. Primarily John Deere, but really anything that comes along.
So what would a primary difference be? I don't know if you can answer that question quickly or not, but between a 2-cylinder mag and say a 4 or 6-cylinder mag.
Well, again, this XH spec, we have the mag over there. That's a 4-cylinder, so it's basically the same mag,
Okay.
but it's got a gear reduction rotor inside, so it has the 4 cylinders.
I see.
And you had a lot of other types of mags that were built for 2 cylinders, but a lot of them would block out the
Oh, yeah.
extra 2 lugs,
Right.
and it would ground it out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been pretty interesting to me that the mags are all doing the same basic thing, but they all accomplish it in a different way.
Right.
Some of them in a lot more complex way.
And so for those that don't know, I guess the magneto would have been the primary spark or ignition source before a battery and distributor and coils and all those kinds of things that we have on modern cars and trucks and tractors nowadays, right?
That's correct. And the main difference there is the magneto requires no external power source. It makes its own power.
Yeah. Through the magnets, is that right?
Through the magnets.
Through the windings of the magnet, yeah. Okay. See, I know some things. Generic things.
The magnetos are still used in small aircraft. They normally have 2. They have 1 for backup.
Okay. Cool.
So they're still used on a lot of things.
They're still around then.
So I've put in a new condenser clamp because the other one was cracked. So open that up a little bit there so I can put this felt wiper in. Kind of keep some grease on those lobes. And we'll squeeze that back together a little bit. Go ahead and put some grease on there.
And I've noticed that while you are putting grease in there, you're not over greasing it, just gobbing it on there. You're
Just try to get it at the right spot.
just enough to give it some lubrication so it doesn't wear.
So since we have the stop wire here, we've got to get 3 wires put on there at the same time, so
That's always fun.
it gets a little cantankerous sometimes.
Are you taking all this in so that you can work on our mags?
No, I'm still gonna bring them to Mark. We're still doing the,
That's
we're scuffing the point. And we'll put a condenser in, but that's about as far as we're going.
probably best.
So before we tighten this down, we'll make sure that this spring is kind of sitting straight and parallel.
I mean, I do have a 60 that we'll be putting a corn picker on.